RC fam, Yankee RC here, and you can see I'm back here with another video. Been a minute, but here we go. So what do I have here, and what are we going to talk about tonight is that we have right here the new, and I'm not going to call it new because it's been out for a few months now, but we have the Tamiya BBX. This is an all new release from Tamiya with an entirely new platform built off of the BB01 chassis. And this is a new chassis design from Tamiya. So let's just go over a little bit of this box art that we can go over from Tamiya with the new BBX. Did I say it right? BBX. Yeah, I said BBX. BBX. So here we go. This is just the box art for the new BBX. Once again, classic Tamiya box art, which they do some of the best box art that you'll see. As I mentioned, this is built off of the new BB01 chassis, which is a new chassis format from Tamiya. So just a more detailed view of the chassis, the BBX chassis from Tamiya. More of the chassis art, once again from Tamiya. And there we go. So we just did a quick tour of the box for the new Tamiya BBX. And, you know, one of the things that you can always appreciate about a Tamiya is the wonderful box art that they give you. This is just classic Tamiya box art. Just the detail in the box art for any Tamiya product is just off the charts. It's just crazy good. So with that being said, let's just go over a few details with this. One of the things that you will notice first if you do decide to build this kit is a lot of the recent Tamiya kits that you, if you purchased any, at least the ones that I've purchased a lot of classic Tamiya kits like the Hot Shot, the Grasshopper, and things like that. But those, I shouldn't say, but those kits actually came with some of the electronics. They actually came with a receiver, and they actually came with a motor. So the only thing you had to buy, well, the three things that you had to buy was a servo, a receiver, and a transmitter. So, you know, those are the three things you had to add to the kit. This kit doesn't come with any electronics. So with this kit, not only will you need the servo, the receiver, and the transmitter, but you'll also have to buy the motor and the ESC. Now, I'll mention up front that I am a Traxxas guy, and Traxxas is the base of my RC hobby, or how I got into the RC hobby. So what I'll be throwing in here initially, because I have it available, is I'll be throwing a Traxxas Valenian 3500 kV motor with a Traxxas Valenian 3S ESC. I'll be cramming that into here to get this thing up and running. I did order a Hobby Wing Max 10 from my local hobby shop, but it hasn't come in yet, and I want to get this thing built, and I want to get it on the road, so I'll be throwing in those Traxxas electronics initially. With that being said, let's crack this puppy open and let's see what's inside. So, bam, here it is. This is the new Tamiya BBX. So I was just kidding a second ago. I've already built my BBX, and here it is. The new Tamiya BBX built on the BB01 chassis. Let's get a little eye candy for you guys. So here it is, and you can see that I'm going to start off by talking about the color that I put into this Tamiya, and I went with a blue, and this is the Tamiya PS59. This is not the PS4 that they recommend on the box. I decided to go with a slightly different blue, the PS59 metallic blue. And to be honest, this was an easy decision because blue is my favorite color. So here is the BBX next to one of my favorite Tamiyas, the Hot Shot. And here it is next to the Grasshopper. And finally, here it is next to the Frog. So let's talk about this. First of all, this is not a complicated build. I have a little more experience, or I should say I'm gaining experience building Tamiya models or Tamiya RCs. And in my opinion, this was not that complicated of a build. It's harder than like building like the Grasshopper or the Hornet, but it's not as complicated as building. Well, I don't think anything I've built is as complicated as building the TT02, the Formula E F1 car. So I wanted a slightly different blue, but doing this thing close to box art was an easy decision for me because blue is my favorite color. So I've experimented with a couple of other colors recently, and I tend to like the blue. So this was an easy build for me. An easy choice for me to go to the blue. You'll notice one thing right away is that there are no body clips anywhere on here. And that's because Tamiya has held this body down with Velcro straps. This body actually comes in, if I remember right, let me see, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, it's 5 body panels that make up this body. So you have 2 body panels back here in the back. See if you can see that you got a body panel back here in the back and one on the other side. This over here, all of this is 1 body panel, and then you have 2 body panels on the side. But let's just show you how this thing Let's just show you how this thing is held down with the body. So you just lift it up right here, and I didn't have it attached on that side. That's why you didn't hear the Velcro rip off right there. But you can rip it off right there. Shouldn't say rip it off, but pull off the Velcro right there. And you can see right here that this thing is actually held on by these Velcro strips here. And there's also, you can see right here, there are Velcro strips inside of the body. So let's go over a few other things with this body. Now, once again, I am not the quote-unquote best Tamiya guy, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to go over the cool things that I think about this thing. First of all, I mentioned that you're going to need a servo in order to build this. The servo is actually located right here, and let's see if we can get it a little tighter. So let's just go. So the first things first is this servo right here. When you're building this kit, you can't use a standard servo. Some people call it a shorty servo, and I'm only mentioning that because I heard it mentioned in a couple of builds recently. But I've actually called it a low profile servo, and that's the actual name for it. So you're going to need a low profile servo in order to get this thing built. So continuing with the electronics, stop the thing from shaking. So continuing with the electronics, you can see right here that I went with the Traxxas Valenian 3500 kV motor, as I mentioned, and 2 reasons that I went with this. Actually, it's probably 3 reasons that I went with this. First of all, and number 1, is that I had this motor laying around, so it was an easy decision to throw it in. Number 2 is this is a new platform for Tamiya, so I wanted to, or at least I want to, push this platform a little and just see what this system can take. So installing this Valenian motor with the ESC in there will allow me to run this thing on 3S so I can see what this drivetrain can really take. And the third thing about it, and the minor thing, is that it's blue. So I figure, blue car, blue motor. All right, let's do it. So that's one of the reasons that I went with this 3500 kV motor. As I mentioned, squeezing this Traxxas VXL 3S ESC in here, this was a very, very tight fit. And you can see, guys, that I really had to cram this thing in here in order to get it in. But like I said, I had the electronics laying around, and I wanted to get this thing up and running, so I decided to throw this thing in there. And, it does fit. Like I said, it's just a tight fit. Now, all of these wires that I have here, which are a hot mess. I mean, you know what? Calling these wires a hot mess is an insult to a hot mess. But one of the reasons that I haven't tied all these wires down yet is because, as I mentioned, I do have a Hobby Wing Max 10 coming in. So when I get that Max 10 in here, I am going to snatch out these Traxxas electronics and throw the Hobby Wing stuff in here. So I'm not going to tie the wires down until I get that resolved, because I don't want to have to tie the wires down and then have to retie them. And I'm expecting the Max 10 to be in anytime, within the next week or so. One of the things that I was able to do
right here,
is
you
I
can
found a
see
light
the
kit that I can
suspension.
install
And one
in
thing I
here.
will note
So
first
I
is that
actually
the
have
oil
my
that they
lights up
give you
top,
here is
and my
very
two
thin,
bright
so
lights
you may
here
need some
are
thicker
actually
oil.
working lights.
But
So you can see
right
here,
now,
I
you
have
can
all
just
my
see how
lights
the
on,
suspension
and I
bounces.
think,
It just seems so
running this
crushed.
thing
I'm
at
not
night
sure
will make this thing that much
it will
cooler.
handle when it drives, but it just seems so responsive right here. And
So,
when building
yeah,
the
you can
suspension,
see,
you are going to need
I
a
actually
small
like the light
drill
kit.
to drill
And
a
one of the
1
cool things
millimeter
that I
hole
was
in
able
the
to do
caps in order to bleed the
is
suspension out. I
I
don't
actually
know why
have the
Tamiya
red
designed
light
it like that,
in
but
the
you're going to
back,
have to do
the
that
brake light.
manually.
Now, this is not a functioning brake light, so it's just always on, but I do have that. Now, I was at my local hobby shop. Shout out to Tech Toys. They actually recommended that, I wish I knew the part number, but Red Cat makes a lighting kit for their, I think he said it's the Red Cat Monte Carlo. But anyway, they make a lighting kit for the Monte Carlo. I'm actually going to purchase that and try to throw that in here and see if that'll give me some functioning brake lights. So I just love the chrome tires that they put on the BBX, but when building this kit, you will notice that the rims are the exact same size for the front and the rear, but you will need to glue these tires. So one of the modifications that I did, and you can notice it right here, is you see that silver spring right there? That's because I actually installed the slipper clutch into this car, and I'm hoping that this will allow me to, what's the best way to say it? This will allow more the extra power that I'm going to be running through the system. It'll allow this car to take it. So that's just an upgrade that I did on my own. So, in order to access the gearbox, and if you have to change like the pinion gear or anything like that, one of the cool designs of this particular vehicle is you just have to loosen up this screw, and I've already loosened them up. So you loosen up this screw, and this screw up here. And that allows this to pivot up. I also actually, if you do have it installed, I took off the tire. But I don't think you have to take off the tire, but I took it off. But that pivots up like so. Let's go to this side here. That pivots up. And then this pivots up. And now you have access to change. You can take out a couple of screws here, and you can change the pinion or the spur gear if you so desire. So you guys can see right here that I actually installed the spare tire. So installing the spare tire, just one note is that the mount for the spare tire is actually part T4, and it's actually listed at the top of page 28 in order to install the spare tire. One other note as far as installing this spare tire is that you actually have to buy the rims and the tires separately, so they do not come with the kit. So there we go, RC fam. That is the new Tamiya BBX BB01. Just a couple of quick pointers. And I did this after I filmed the initial video, but I was looking online, and shout out to the YouTube channel Competition X. So what he recommended was that to keep the rear dog bones from popping out on the BBX, is that you can actually install some O-rings on the rod here for the rear suspension, and that'll keep the rear dog bones from popping out. So I did do some running video of the BBX, but to be honest, as soon as I took some small jumps, the dog bone popped out a couple of times. So, I once again shout out to Competition X. He actually gave me that suggestion. So I didn't have any O-rings, but what I did have is I had some plastic washers. So I've installed some plastic washers here, and it really stops the suspension from compressing all the way. It stops the suspension from compressing all the way, which means hopefully that'll eliminate that dog bone issue of the dog bones popping out. One other point is, in the interim, my Max 10 combo came in. Yeah, let me just cover that up. Yeah, that actually has my phone number on it. But the Max 10 combo that I ordered from my local hobby shop, that actually came in. So let's see, where does it say that at? It doesn't say it, but any place on the back. But my Easy Run Max 10 combo came in. So I'm going to be yanking the Traxxas motor that I have in here out and the Traxxas ESC that I have in here out. And I'm going to be installing this Max 10. From my understanding, the specs on this Max 10, just the height, width, and length are smaller than the specs of the Traxxas ESC that I have squeezed in there. So I'll be dropping that in sometime soon, and I'll still be running this thing. And when I do that, I'll clean up this mess of wires that I have. But overall, this was a great build. I really enjoyed doing this build. I would highly recommend it if you've done a Tamiya before and you want to take a step up and you want to get something a little more modern as opposed to one of the re-releases that they're doing. This is a definite winner in that category. So I would highly recommend that you guys upgrade to this. In the meantime, this is Yankee RC. Get out there and break something.